So, another test route. Come out of the test centre, gone left at the first roundabout, just following the road. So we're coming up to the main road up here. You can see a tight bend as we come up to this section. So this is Blue Stem Road. Just going to follow it to the end. Blue Stem Road actually turns right here, which is the way we're going to go. We're going to turn right on this. Mirror check, obviously, putting the signal on. There's a van coming. Nothing behind this van. Got to go all the way over here to get to the roundabout. You just run your wheels across the edge of it because otherwise it doesn't really work. We're following town centre on the sign there, slowing down for this horrible speed hump. Check my mirrors, put my signal on. And then looking for a gap in the traffic. So yeah, there is a small gap here that I can go in. As I come around here, I need to keep my right signal on, but not go into the white lines. I need to keep it wide. Once I get to this point, I need to check to my left, swap to a left signal, and bring it off. So you saw that I kept the right signal on, even though I moved across lane. Well, I didn't really move across lanes, I followed the lane, but you're kind of going across to the left. But you need to keep a right signal on in case anyone's coming out of the junction. And as I say, you're not actually moving lanes, you are following the lane and still going right around the roundabout. So you need to keep your signal at that point. That bit of zigzag also accommodates a cycle lane to the left, and then the cycle lane appears as a broken white line here. You get a lot of people turning right here, so just watch out. Keep an eye the whole time on your mirrors, and I do mean glance in your mirrors, don't stare in your mirrors. You know, you're driving forwards, you need to be looking forwards and looking at what's going on, and don't just stare at the back of a van, for example. So this van, if you got close to it, you wouldn't be able to see anything. It would literally be like putting your hand in front of your face. So you drop back from it so you can actually see either side of it. Might sound like a very simple thing to do, but people seem to drive 1 millimetre away from the vehicle in front and still think that they can see where they're going when you can't. It's not just about braking distances, it's about literally not being able to see where you're going. Okay, going to take the next road on the right. So as I come up, that is a mirror check, a signal, slow down, bring it nicely into the centre box. There's nothing coming, I've checked my exit route is clear, I turn it in, carry on up. Can I get through the gaps with the cars? Well, yeah, as long as that van squeezes over into, there we go, into that bit. So follow it along, over the bumps, bumpity bump, and keep looking ahead. This is a 20 limit, this section, or it was, hold on, sorry, backtracking there, just suddenly remembered to say it. Keep following it, and then we're going to take the next right. So mirror signal, and bring it in. Right, and then we're going to follow this road around. Basically go back on ourselves, check around the corner, you do some pull-ups. So if I come around here, you can sort of say, you can say, could you pull up on the left somewhere for me, please? And you've got to find somewhere to pull up. Not here because of the parked cars. Not there because of the junction, although it's possible they might get you to pull right up behind that car. There's a nice spot there, nothing behind me, nothing in front of me. So, and actually I'm not going to stop there because I'm just going to carry on round. Follow it round. Watch this person on their little scootery thing. Yeah, and again you can pull up there, nothing around. Pull up that bit there, see that hedges, you can stop there, that'll be fine. Okay, end of the road we're going to go right, so I'm not going to pull up because there's really no point. So, Not for the purpose of this anyway. You can see you could stop there. It's not going to assist watching me stop and pull away again. So I'm looking both ways because all these cars are illegally parked on top of the junction. So yeah, it is the 20 limit that I mentioned before, and I said it just after it come out of it. But anyway, humped crossing, make sure you don't go wild over the top of it. Look well ahead. Got a nice gap there, keep an eye on the junction. There's a man in his van hanging around. Follow out through this, bring it back in, checking my mirrors all the time, so like this. I'm glancing at my mirrors, I'm looking through the gap, and I'm slowing down for the speed hump. Over the speed hump, the car was reversing, but it stopped, so it didn't really matter too much. Another place they'll do pull-ups on the left is around this area. I mean, if they ask you here to pull up on the left, well, could you stop here? Not really, it's a bit awkward. Brow of a hill, single yellow. You'd have to look at the signs though if you can stop there, and you can't because it's Monday to Saturday, 8 till 6. So you can stop here, so checking around. Would you stop in that bit? Well, they might ask you to stop there and do an angled start. So you can stop on this bit here, that'd be fine. You can stop on this bit. As you get further up, it's not so easy to stop, but very straightforward. Yeah, I'm not going to stop because, yeah. Right, traffic lights. We're going to turn right here, check the mirrors, right signal. Don't make the mistake of going through the bit that's on my right now. That is no entry for us. A very odd set of traffic lights because we are facing the complete wrong direction to the direction we're going to go in. So although we're turning right, we're actually completely doubling back on ourselves. The road to my right is going in the same direction I'm going now. So as you can see, I'm facing the same direction as all the cars going straight across. But I'm going to turn and go past them in the opposite direction. So a very odd bit of road. A roundabout would be much more suited to this. I don't really know why this is traffic lights, but it's been like it for as long as I can remember. So you can see those cars are both turning right there, or the van and the car. That's where we are about to go. And we're off. I'm looking for my side window to make sure there's nothing, blue lights or something coming through. And as you come around, be careful not to aim at the traffic that it's waiting, i.e. make sure you drive down this bit. Right, we're going to turn right on this next roundabout, so it's a mirror check, a signal, boom, put that on. I'm slowing down enough to start examining the roundabout. There's not a lot coming into it, but there is a whole chunk of cars coming from the right. What's coming from the left that can help me? Nothing at the minute. That red Porsche is coming around, the old Porsche, but this car's going so slow, I'm not sure it'll help. Yeah, it will help. There we go. As we come around, check to my left, make sure they're not going to pull out on me. Because on this roundabout, yeah, and that black Ford Mustang, or it's not a Ford Mustang, Mustang Mach-E, whatever it's called, did pull out. Could potentially have ended up alongside me. So, right, up to the 40-mile-an-hour speed limit. Tap that cruise control on. And just cruise along. So, at the next roundabout, going to take the first exit to the left, but then not going into Sainsbury's, which is where that takes you. You're going to immediately turn right. So as we come down the road, looking ahead, tapping my cruise control off now. Look at the lane I'm going to go into, which is left. So there it is. There are 3 lanes, not 2. Check my mirrors, put my left signal on, bring me into that left lane. And looking at the roundabout. So there is a lovely big gap directly after this car. But once you come into this, check to the right, put my right signal on, bring it round, check to my left, put my left signal on, bring it into this. There we go. And then follow this along. So 30 limit denoted by the street lights, don't need any signs to tell you that this road is a 30. we went into a 30 back there, because obviously the other road was a 40. Cruising on, and again they might ask you to move off and stops on this road. Can do it here. There's a junction, zebra crossing. We're good for the zebra crossing. Yes, we are. Parked car is a hazard. It's a problem. Badly parked as well. Slowing it down, checking my mirrors. So, well, I checked my mirrors before I slowed down, but I checked my mirrors because I'm going to go out to the right. Same with this one. So look, this is the sort of place that might ask you to pull up. You wouldn't pull up necessarily opposite that junction if you're just doing a stop, but they might specifically ask you to stop in front of that car to do an angled start. Right, when we get to the next roundabout, we're going to take the second exit. Usefully, the sign is completely obscured by the trees, which is pretty much what all the signs are. So look, that car, the learner car on the right, has stopped in a very strange position. I'm not sure why they've stopped there, but maybe they're doing a stop. So check it's the left signal. But yeah, that road, people often practice doing move off and stops because it's often used on the test for move off and stops. As I say, where that was stopped wasn't really a very good place to stop, but there might be another reason why they stopped there, or they might have just been practicing and they've stopped in a place which is wrong, and now they're having to explain to them that that is definitely not a place you would stop. So we're in a 40 limit. Again, you've got to make sure you're looking at the sign. So you come out of the 30 limit, you actually go into a 60 limit on the roundabout, and then this road is a 40 limit. So just follow it down. Bus is driving right across in the middle of the road, kicking up loads of stones. Let's move back in now. So you won't want to be too close to that bus. Empty bus. Kicking up all those stones. Nice easy road. Not a lot happening on it, is there? You can just cruise along. I'm going to slow down a bit because the vehicles in front are slowing down. So I'm down to like 35 miles an hour. So just keep following it along until you get to the next thing. And the next thing is a junction, then we go through little villages and country roads, which then takes us back to Ipswich Test Centre. So as we come down here, we go over the top of the A14. You can have a little look, see if it's queued up. No, it's nice and free flowing. And then we're going to turn right. So we've just got into a 60, but you're not going to accelerate at all. Checking your mirrors, putting your signal on. There's nothing behind me. Slowing down. Don't cut off the double white line. Bring it in. Straight out. But remember, you're on a 6 limit road, so turning into this road now requires you to make sure that you can make it. Possibly could have made it then, but the reason I was looking is because there's somebody with a bike hovering near the road. Anyway, let's turn it in. They're just having a drink actually, they're not doing anything in particular. Right, and then through Nacton. This does flood in the winter, so you've got to be very careful if you come this way. If it is flooded, you need to slow right down. Potentially, if it was so deep that it looked like you couldn't drive through it, you would turn around and go back the other way because you can't drive through water that's too deep. Right, carrying along this bit of road, it is a 30 limit. We went into a 30 limit. You've had a couple of signs, and the only reason this remains a 30 limit is that there. You can see there's a repeater sign on the right. There's a little sign they put out recently with a digital speed on it. So I'm doing 28 miles an hour, but that's because your speedometer isn't entirely accurate. So I am doing exactly 30 miles an hour on my speedometer. But the sign says I'm doing 28, and of course those signs aren't necessarily accurate, to be honest. You can be going past one and you're at 30 and it'll say 28, another one will say 30, you know, that's certainly not accurate. So yeah, another very common place to come through Nacton. You've just got to judge the width of the road the whole way round. So here it's wide enough, but you know, you might get farm traffic or something. Take up a lot of space, and if you met farm traffic at the same time as those two walking, and her arm is a little bit over the edge of the road, just because swinging wide and my wing mirror sticks out a bit, you would slow right down because you wouldn't want to clip her with your wing mirror. And you might think that is an accident that doesn't ever happen, but it does happen frequently. So this van has pulled out. Now I could see before he pulled out there was nothing coming, and I could see some gaps. So I'm going to bring it out behind, so I could pull in there, I could pull into the next one. Keep it quite easy because he's obscuring my view. Anyway, we're going to turn right at the next junction. This is like a double right. And look, this is why you shouldn't park across the end of a junction, because now it's really awkward for us to turn into it. You know, this is not allowed, but there's just no enforcement of this sort of thing at all. In fact, the only place not parking across the end of the road is enforced is on a driving test, where you'll fail if you do that. Right, max speed 20 sign. Is it a speed limit? No, it's not a speed limit. Can you go more than 20 around this corner? No. Is there any point in the sign? Probably not. But if you consider that this would have once been a 60-mile-an-hour limit, then the sign kind of indicated that this is a very tight road. But now this road remains a 30 limit. I mean, it's a bit of a debatable 30 limit because, unless you haven't noticed, there's been no real signs as we go along it. But it is still within the 30 zone, as it were. Because when you come in the other direction, there's one repeater in the bush there, but I mean, essentially we haven't had any for the entire length. So, yeah, but it is a 30 anyway. And then you come into the de-restricted. So we are currently in a restricted road, and now it's de-restricted. Black and white sign, which of course on the Isle of Man and Germany still means no speed limit, and it does mean de-restricted. But in the United Kingdom, for a car, this is a 60 limit since 1965, and temporary in 1965. It should be said that they brought in temporary speed limits, which were never removed. And for that van in front of this Mini, the speed limit on this road is 50 miles an hour, not 60. So pretty straightforward. Follow the traffic. The van is not going very quick, which is unusual because people do actually drive down this road quite fast. You'd be expected to pick your pace up along this road on the test and then slow down appropriately. So if you're driving along a road like this, sometimes people say, well, what's the point? Why can't I just drive down it at like 33 miles an hour and then I haven't got to do anything? I can just drive down the road. Well, that's the problem. So if you're on a driving test and you just drive down here at 33 miles an hour, which is kind of what we're doing at the minute, you never touch the brakes, you don't react to anything, you don't slow down for the corner appropriately, you're not checking your mirrors, then you're not checking your mirrors when you re-accelerate, you're not actually driving the car properly. Because you need to be showing that you can slow down at the correct time, speed up at the correct time, that you can actually see what's going on the road, that you can see hazards, which might be driveways, or bends, or the fact the road narrows, or because the roads are in such a terrible state, it could be potholes, debris on the road. In the winter you often get bits of trees coming off, and you can come around a corner, and if you didn't slow down before you got into that corner, you're going to end up hitting half a tree. Right, coming up to this, we're going straight across. Nice and easy. And then we're going to take what is the second exit straight across. Bring it in. Nothing coming. Check to the left, no signal. This bit of road is terrible. You need to sit in the middle of it because it's not two lanes. It used to be two lanes, and a cycle lane was put in on the left, which you can't even see, and then they blanked out the white line down the middle, so you can just about see the cycle lane. This Range Rover came steaming up behind me as I come into this. I thought they were going to come into this roundabout alongside as well. But yeah, anyway, you basically sit in the middle of that, otherwise you're driving along the cycle lane as opposed to the actual bit of road. But it's so difficult to see that it really makes very little sense. Anyway, there you go. It's another test route. As you can see, it's not difficult. If you know how to drive a car, if you've actually learned how to drive a car and you can drive it independently, then driving a test route for half an hour should be pretty simple. It's not a difficult process. What I will say is, it's a very simple way of making sure you're ready for a test. Is that if you don't know the answer to a lot of the questions of how to drive the car, and you are still unsure of lots of things, then you are absolutely not ready to take your test. You need to be going into the test confident that you understand all of the different things that you need to be doing, because driving a driving test route and driving a car correctly isn't difficult if you are at a standard where you know exactly what you're doing. So we're going left at the end of this, and then it takes us back to the test centre. So there you go. That is another test route.